By the power of Grayskull, this is what I want next. Against the Machinist. Today I'm going to talk about my top 10 figures I would love to see come out for the MOTU Origins line. Now, before I get started, first off, if you hear any weird sounds over the mic, my apologies. I'm using a different mic today, plus I have my 3D printer running in the background, so you may hear the occasional whine or whimper or, what have you. Saying that, though, I'm at the point with this line. I love the line, don't get me wrong, but I'm at that point where I've got most of what I really wanted. I'm not collecting the entire thing. I'm not a ride or die person. I didn't jump on Mattel's collector site and get the Spirit of Grayskull. I wouldn't mind one, but it's not my life priority, nor is, many of the other things that they have released. Really, at this point, there's a handful of figures that I either know are being produced or have been produced that I'm really interested in, mostly Faker and Buzz Off. The Horde Trooper would be there too, but we don't. We know he's coming, so I'm good with waiting. So this is kind of my top 10 list of figures I want to see hit the line that I have heard nothing about. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and if you know something I don't, like, hey, they totally announced that on Wave 12 or something, my apologies. But as I don't know about it, I can't predict. So this is my top 10 figures I want to see in the line, or toys I want to see in the line in 2022. And for number 10, I'm going to say Grizzler from the Evil Horde. Grizzler, first off, you'll notice I don't have any Horde figures on here. I do have Hordak. I even have the infamous Savage Age Batcave, which I use as a de facto fright zone. And that's really what I want to see. Is I want to see a little more of the Horde come out. A Slime Pit would be cool too, but ultimately Grizzler, Leech, Mantenna. I'm going to stick with Grizzler because he was the one I had as a kid, and I really dug him. Fake fur and all, and of course, we've got Hordak. Now it's time to build up the Horde, and with Horde Troopers coming, I know that's going to happen, but I just want to see it, see more of it. Number 9 is Cyclone. Cyclone is a cool figure. I'm guessing he would be a deluxe because of the spinning factor. I would want that mechanism to stay in place. I do like the multi-part thing, the customizable mentality they put on the figures, but I think it would also be cool to have some of those figures still retain their action features, kind of like good old Web Store here. This blew me away when I found this. I thought he was really cool as a kid, and having a new version of that just awesome, and having that the actual mechanism worked was cool. So I want to see more of that in line too, I think. Like Jitsu and Fisto, for example, they have their fists, but there's no spring mechanism at all. They're just highly posable with cool features. Jitsu is also one of my favorites. I just got this guy recently. He is one of the figures I was really hoping to get. So glad I got him for my collection, but I would like to see, like I said, some more of those kind of action feature figures, and that would be one of them. Would be Cyclone. I liked the spinning action. I thought that was cool. And going into him, let's go into number 8, which would be Whiplash. Whiplash was basically a figure that only really used the spring-loaded waist of a MOTU figure to have an action feature, which was that he just had a large rubber tail on the back. But he was a cool figure. I really liked the way he looked. I liked the design, and would love to see him come back into the line as well. I think that would be something worth seeing. Now, on to my number 7, which is Hero. Hero, while he never appeared in stores, at least in the States, and was part of an aborted concept, I think it would be cool to see us have Hero and maybe some of the other characters that were supposed to come out in that scale, in that style. Kind of a, we get to fix that thing that we didn't get in the original line. That's something I would love to see happen more with this line, and Hero would be a good example. Eldor as well, perhaps, but definitely Hero at the very least. would be high on my list of figures I would love to see come into the line with the vacuum formed metal breastplate and the whole 9 yards. And maybe some other, like I said, sub-figures of that same line would be cool as well. For number 6, I'm going to say King Randor. Pardon me. King Randor is, again, part of the Filmation storyline. You know, we've gotten the Sorceress, we've gotten Orko, who, again, did appear in the line, but only later in the series when Mattel started really pushing those Filmation characters. But Randor is one who he's part of the story, and he's a cool character. And quite frankly, I would love to see a King Randor done for MOTU Origins. I think that would be a really cool concept. So number 5 on my list is actually a playset, which would be Point Dread and the Talon Fighter. Now, for those of you who don't know, Point Dread was basically a little tower that would sit about here on Castle Grayskull with a Talon Fighter on top. Obviously, we can't sell Point Dread without the fighter because, you know, really it's for the fighter and having the perch to land it on. One, I really like the Talon Fighter. I thought it was a cool vehicle, and I like the idea of not just different playsets, but the modularity of these playsets, adding to them rather than simply here's another playset, here's another playset, but you know, adding something to the play value of this. You know, it would also be cool. And again, this is really pipe dream, pie in the sky thinking, but to see a basement to Castle Grayskull, you know, the dungeons of Grayskull or something, as a separate playset would be kind of cool. You know, something you could set this on and then set it up. But again, I understand that's pie in the sky. I'm talking specifically things that did exist in the past, not things that I would like to see come forward brand new. So, Point Dread and the Talon Fighter would definitely be high on that list. Number 4 is the character Extendar. Now, Extendar is kind of the a cool concept, but I would love to see also how they do it with the posability of the Origins line, with the line having a lot more points of articulation. It would be cool to see the extending arms, the extending head, legs, and torso. Plus, if you can get that modularity to still stick, it would be cool to give, you know, He-Man an extending arm, or even Trapjaw as a temporary, as a one-shot to fiddle with. Could be a lot of fun, and I think having Extendar in the line, you know, plus he's a cool character, but, you know, having him in that line would be a cool bonus for that very reason. Number 3, and again, I'm going back to this figures with action features. I'm sure this one would be a deluxe figure, would be Cobra Khan. Wouldn't mind seeing the Snake Men, but Cobra Khan with the spraying head was always a cool concept. A mist spray, pretty easy mechanism to put together, and looks really cool and plays really cool, especially with this line. So that would be one I would love to see, just because I think it would be fun to have with the line. And with this line being kind of that mid-ground between collectors and kids, it's fun to have those mechanisms back, I think. I really do. Number 2, of course, would be Snake Mountain. This, again, is kind of in that pie in the sky category, in my opinion, because these are expensive playsets. Building something and tooling it this big is not cheap. Castle Grayskull runs about $80. And I think a Snake Mountain would be worth $80, don't get me wrong, and I think people would buy it. The one thing I would say to Mattel is, you know, feel free to remove the voice changer. Get the mechanisms out of there. Those electronics ain't cheap, even to today's standards. But replace it with things like furniture. Give Skeletor his throne. Give him the table. Put some other play features in there. I think that would make the thing more enjoyable. As a kid, I really wanted Snake Mountain until I saw it. And it really was kind of one of those, like, I just can't pull the trigger. I don't see enough play value there. And I think that's, again, one of those things that could be corrected nowadays, even with something as simple as some furniture, with having, you know, Skeletor's throne and table there, much like the cartoon. And the number 1, and I realize, now I'm going to just preface this out front, this is my list, not, you know, what I expect anyone else. You know, you're going to have your own list, and you probably have listened to the last 9 and been like, this guy's cracked. Why would he want this? Why would he want that? That's fine. And the number 1 is the Mighty Spectre. Just kidding. No, not even close. He's not anywhere on this list. The number 1 would be Rio Blast, the cowboy MOTU character with the hidden arsenal. I just dug that figure something fierce, and again, would love to see a revised MOTU version of him. Make him a deluxe figure, I don't care. He's one I will definitely buy as soon as I see him. He's definitely in the take my money, shut up and take my money category, in my opinion. He's one of the few figures I really coveted as a kid that didn't get. And yeah, he's one that I would love to see today. So that's my top 10, and again, it's based upon my opinion. There are other figures I think that were worth noting, but just didn't make the cut in my opinion. So, saying that, what's your top 10? Why don't you hit me up below and we can talk what would be your favorite top 10. And in the meantime, happy collecting, and I bid you adieu.